Oh, right. Well, I really didn't want to talk about this movie because honestly, this is the type of movie that you wish kind of you just never ever actually saw. And I'll go into the reasons for this. And what better time around Halloween to talk about the absolute fucking horror of this movie? It is truly a horrific thought, a horrific movie, a movie that is just makes you shudder inside like no ghost, ghoul, or goblin could ever do. The movie, of course, is the 1971 movie, anti-war movie, may I add. No need in explaining why. Johnny Got His Gun. Now, this movie is awful in so many ways, including about just the horrors of war and what might occur during and after warfare. But I think its biggest problem is that it just explores the inner human spirit so deviously that it shows you a sight that just makes you be pretty glad to be alive, honestly. Now, the film is made in two different segments. Number one, black and white, when after the war, something horrific happens and it's kind of viewed through a black and white lens. And before the war, which is viewed in this color, kind of picturesque, type of way, that showing off, the pre-event, actions and kind of what he's thinking of during his horrible time, and we'll get to what occurs here very shortly. Now, the absolute legend Donald Sutherland is in this movie. He's great. Same with Jason Robards. Everyone kind of puts on a great performance, and Timothy Bottoms, who's Johnny, is pretty great too, even though you don't get to see very much of him. And that is for the reason that in World War, uh, he gets blown basically to smithereens to the effect of he loses his arms, he loses his legs, he loses his ears, he loses, or I think he loses everything but just, and there's a hole in his face, so no mouth, no anything. He's basically just a human torso. And if that thought doesn't give you the absolute creeps, I don't know what will. Yeah, so during World War One, he gets hit with an artillery shell and basically gets blown to smithereens. So he's just like a living torso being kept alive. Basically thinking that let's learn from this experience and see what the human body does with such a state. And to think of yourself in this state is this horrific, nightmarish reality where you can't move, you can't talk, you can't enjoy the pleasures of life, you can't eat, you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't be merry, you can't be happy. You just have to sit there and are stuck within your own mind. And it explores many of these thoughts of just being like this one stationary object of the human mind that was just screaming in agony to just be gone, basically. It's to just go away because the thought of losing all that makes us human, our ability to walk around and hug loved ones and eat good food and drink and be merry and all these things, whenever that's gone, we're just a mind, a brain sitting there, a useless pile of flesh that is just like that. So like, I mean, it really makes you think like you're happy to have, you've got your arms, you got your legs, you can get up and walk, you can get up and move things, you can hear things, you can talk, you can you can do all these things, but you remove all those aspects of the human body, which is essentially your mouth, your nose, your eyes, your all these things, and you're just nothing, you know what I mean? So it's a freaky, freaky situation, and I would recommend you don't watch this movie. It gets stuck in your brain. I've watched it several times. It just sits there in your mind, and you just can't stop thinking about it because there are people who have lived through this horror. There are people who have lost both their legs and both their arms. Maybe rarely, losing all their senses like Johnny does and everything, that. But when you don't have functions like your arms, your legs, your sight, all these things, you've lost an aspect of being living that is core to the human condition. The 1988 song One by thrash metal band well known Metallica has a central character similar to Johnny Got His Gun. The music video released in 1989 features a number of clips from the film. Now, I mean, how perfect is that? Is there anything more metal than this situation of a fucking human torso just writhing in fucking agony on a bed? Not anything more metal than that, because it's just a horrific thought. I mean, it's it's just horrible. Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa cited Johnny Got His Gun as one of his favorite films. There's been remakes, but you know what? I mean, it's the core of this, and I think it's based on like a 1939 movie or book. This has existed in the human consciousness for a long time. Is that like you remove your arms, your legs, your sight, your breathing, and you're just like kept alive in the state. A very similar situation happened in Japan, a nuclear accident. I think his name was Ouchi or something. Look it up. Ouchi nuclear incident, Japan. And Ouichi like basically became just this human guinea pig of just dying of radiation on a bed. And that's fucking horrifying. But at the same time, Johnny Got His Gun is a similar situation. Is it's just like many people would just want to just die in this type of situation, because what's the point of living if you can't experience all these things like moving around and talking? I mean, it wouldn't be so bad to live as a paraplegic, losing your arms and your legs or whatever, but having nothing but a torso and you're blind, all these things, it's just deeply unsettling thought. Another particularly horrifying situation in the movie is how he recants his experiences with the love of his life. He's recalling the first time, they slept together in the same bed and their love for each other. And just the fact that he'll never get it in that same way ever again is kind of creepy too, because you're thinking of the fact that he's just lost everything. He's basically dead. He's not even alive. And his lover even accept him back? Never, probably. I mean, he's just a torso. It's weird. It's a weird like thing to see him before and just being like, "Don't go to war, don't go to war." And I think that's perhaps why it's such an anti-war movie, is that people who are seeing this are going to be like, "Well, I don't want that to fucking happen to me." And this is something that could definitely happen in war. Nine times out of ten, the person who gets blown up this way probably just dies instantly. They talk about that in the early part of the film, is that it's a very rare occurrence, but that one time the torso is live, can it survive? They prove that it can, but at the same time, ethically, does a human who's just literally nothing even need to? It probably won't. And I think in today's society, there would be measures in place that would kind of say, just pull the plug. I mean, it's not worth keeping a human alive like this. There's too much suffering, and you can see in his mind. Some of the most disturbing moments in the movie is him, like his body, just like his torso, just kind of wriggling around in agony of not the physical, not only the physical side, but the mental side as well. He's very unsettled by the fact that he can't do anything. He's just sitting there for eternity and will always be just kind of looping around. It's a weird movie, and like I said, I really wish I didn't watch this movie, because it just sticks with you. So yeah, I don't overly want to spend more time with this movie than I have to. It's a movie that, although I hate watching, I've come back to a few times just to get that in my mental state and just to be thankful for the things we have around us. Because, I mean, fuck, can you imagine being in this situation? You're just a body part. I don't know, like you would think that it's like you would think that this would be the most hellish thing to ever happen to someone. And I think that a poignant part of the movie is that all the people who are like his nurses and like the generals and stuff, they're kind of sympathizing with the fact of us, okay, if that was me, just fucking just be done with it. Like there's no point in keeping a person alive who's like in the state. So yeah, I mean Johnny Got a Gun is a crazy movie. It's certainly not for the faint of heart. It overwhelmingly has moments of pure, unfiltered agony that you get to see on film, and the worst part is legitimately like him recanting these older experiences, which are in color, of just his life before and what he had and during the war and the choices that he made and all these things. It's bizarre. It is a bizarre movie and a movie that most people probably never even knew existed. Most people wouldn't want to watch this type of material, and for me, honestly, it's not something I like, but I had to talk about it because, man, we talk about horror, ghosts, skeletons, vampires, spooky ghosts and all the shit. But man, the real horror sometimes is our own consciousness, like the real horror is our own mind state and the things that we can encounter with just the ruthless aspect of human life. So, Johnny Got a Gun, 1971. It's a grotesque movie. It's a movie that, maybe if you're feeling a little down, I'd watch it because it might make you feel a little bit more appreciative of the shit you have around you. We live in a great society. Everything we want, we can order to our doorstep. There's great food, and people, and merriment all around us. We can, go out and ride a bike. You can talk about bullshit on the internet. You can, shit post on Twitter. You can do all these things, but if this was your reality, you would be stuck in this just horrible state of agony 24/7. And most of us will live a nice long life and never have to experience this. So it's like if you needed something to be fucking thankful for today, watch Johnny Got a Gun, and you know what? You might think that your life ain't so bad.